Over the last few weeks, in studio with us for this conversation is Embakasi North Member of Parliament, Honorable James Gakuya, as well as former NATS Secretary General and former MP Wilson Sosion. Gentlemen, many thanks for staying on with us. Now, Honorable Gakuya, as this rift continues to play out in public, and the biggest indication of this rift is that we've had allies of both the president and the deputy president come out and pronounce themselves. We've had you specifically allege that there is somebody sponsoring a wing or a group of young parliamentarians to frustrate the deputy president as well. And so it is from leaders like you then that the country is learning and reading the rift. But the question is whether this rift is real, first of all, or whether it is a ploy to divert and, the attention of Kenyans from something bigger that could be happening in the country.
Michelle had been very categorical on this one and say we are one party because we are in a coalition we're known as K24 coalition, and that's why we have party organs. And I think anything that may be boiling, because these parties are parties and may have been politically, and there can be some political discords. But that does not mean that there is a total and secure division. And in my view in this is that because we have such neck organ, which can be able to bring issues into out, I would still direct that actually they should take their law and make sure that the party is cool and they do not allow those political boilings within the coalition. And one, it is true that once you see a smoke somewhere, you must ask yourself, what next? And what is obvious is wherever there is smoke, there is a fire. And you must also come out very clearly and point out who is setting up that fire there.
So, in fact, when you say where there's smoke, there's fire, there is some smoke. Talk about the New Democrats Party. Conversations about the deputy president being in the process of acquiring a new political party. It is something that the DP has, denied in public, of course, but where there's smoke, there's fire, Honorable Gakuya. In
terms of political parties, I can tell you, it can only arrive to that situation when the things are unsolvable. But in the case, at the point we are not yet there. And I cannot stand it here to tell Kenyans that actually the division is too huge that it is undoable. It is still doable, and I can tell you we are in the UDA party. And I can attest that, in fact, the deputy president is not in, at this particular hour, has no arrangement or any feeling of moving out of the UDA, neither forming another party. But in case there can be that element to force him go that direction, then he can do the necessary, because we are living in the same country and we know about what we call political environment. But I am very sure that the head of state, who underwent a very critical situation in Jubilee Party, he cannot be the one who can push his deputy to go that direction. And therefore, I'm very sure, at his level of experience and knowledge, he cannot allow that serious division of the party. And still, I'll take the battle back to him, that he is the one who is carrying the mantle, and those small teething issues within the party, he can resolve them at his own level. So he has a duty to make sure that, in fact, at this point in time, the party should not be seen in public in the perception that it is divided.
Sosion, in October 2023, the deputy president declared that him and his boss, President Ruto, were joined at the hip, dismissed any reports of a possible split. But fast forward now to June 2024, and the split seems to be going on. And so it paints a picture of UDA's house, so to speak, standing on shaky grounds, which is not the picture of a solid foundation that was presented to the public. What impact is this rift, which has been confirmed by Honorable Gakuya, have on the running of the nation?
those are personal opinions of Honorable Gachagua as an individual and in his own right.
You both are members of the same party.
Yes, we are members of the same party.
Speaking from different scripts.
And senior members, for that matter. We are not ordinary members. So, yes, the Deputy President made that statement last year, and you should know the history of the formation of UDA and the role that Mount Kenya played. And I can say Mount Kenya people broke the ethnic barriers in the last elections in 2022. That no doubt. And we should pick up that and carry on in the coming elections so that we have a united country that is free from ethnicity. And so you are talking about emergence of a party called New Democrats and whatnot. It's normal. Will he see many parties emerging? But for Kenya Kwanza, as far as I know, the president is very, very competent leader who understands and who knows how to marshal the troops. He'll marshal all of us. We even know how Mount Kenya negotiated on the running mate. We all know it. There are so many potential options. But eventually, Ruto-Gachagua was picked, and there was that agreement, and we are moving on. He's the deputy president. The current debate should not even scare anyone. Michelle, you've touched on young leaders being sponsored. And I think, let me say it here. The president said it, and I believe that should be the party position. It should even be the party of all institutions. Mentoring young leaders is a responsibility of the party, because Gachagua will be gone tomorrow. We will all be gone. There will be another generation that will take over. Let them be. Let them be. So really, that should not attract a lot of animosity, a lot of tension. And I dare say, the president has said very clearly, let us all mentor young leaders. It's not only in the mountain, it's everywhere. Right. I see in Rift Valley, debate of kingpinship and whatnot, and the president has never tempered. He's not going to touch. Let people organize themselves democratically. And when you look at the mountain, for example, who was supposed to be the running mates, who were on the tickets to be the running mates of the president? There was Kithure Kindiki, there was Ndindi Nyoro, the MP for Kiharu, there was Anne Waiguru, there was Kimani Ichung'wah. These are very young leaders, very strong leaders of the party. And from the mountain, and these are people, they should be allowed to grow democratically, and that does not threaten anyone, because there is a time for everything. There is a time that William Ruto will exit political leadership, and that is not later than 2032. There is a time that Ruto-Gachagua will still exit, whether you like it or not. And there is a time that all of us will exit. But you allow the young leaders, the next cohort of leadership, to prepare themselves.
So you have specifically, Gachagua, raised the issue with the members of parliament that Sosyon is talking about. And first of all, Sosyon, I keep reminding you, Kenya is a democracy, and Kenyans will choose the next president in 2027, not 2032. However, Gachagua, you have raised the issue with these members of parliament, and Sosyon says this is a democracy, let them be. You are a member of parliament, you started somewhere. What is the issue with these members of parliament that allies of the DP have taken issue with?
One, Michelle, and we must be very open in this. Whenever you find a situation where we are only 1.5 years old in the party, and we have a president who we are sure of taking for 2 terms, then it means his departure is 2032. And then there is young Turks, whom we purport that actually we are grooming to become leaders of tomorrow, who had also an opportunity during when he was forming his government to allow them to become his deputies at that time. I don't see any enough reason why you can release these troops to come to start now demeaning your deputy president deliberately. We have a case where we have seen members of parliament moving to an event because they have heard that the deputy president is heading there. They rush there before him with choppers. They also present donations, these contributions that they purport that the contribution has come from the president. This is an August situation, and this is a direct demeaning of the deputy president, because deputy president, wherever he is heading to a particular event, he represents the head of state. Then nobody can purport to be young tax that he also seems to be approximated with the head of state, who also comes ahead and purports that he's the one who has been said by that is to create a division to the public, because the perception will be then the head of state has more say in this young tax other than his deputy.
Have these members of parliament said they are speaking on behalf of the president? They were sent by the president. They have the backing of the president.
I can tell you for sure. It's only that you can learn from a particular incidences. And I'm quoting Madhioya, where the Dede Joro appeared to present the president in contribution, where the deputy president an hour later came. That means that the offices of the president always communicate. And therefore, anybody who purported that actually the president decided not to send his deputy, but the young tax, then the answer is something is wrong. And that is why we are saying, let us not create animosity and just create an issue where directly there is a signal to demean the deputy president. Let us allow the deputy president to work. Whether the young tax are there to be groomed, let them be groomed, but not anything that actually is indicating to demeaning the deputy president's position.
And so Simba goes back to you, because the president did make a promise to his deputy in public that he would not let this happen as it happened in his time. So the question is, in your view, should the president continue to remain silent?
The presidency in Kenya has been demystified after the 2010 constitution. And if indeed a member of parliament or for that matter works to the president, and the president does send that particular person without engaging the deputy president, that is normal. I remember one time President Uhuru Kenyatta gave me a speech to read in a funeral in Liteig of the former national chairman now.
But should you continue to read it when the deputy president is sitting there?
Listen. This is what happened.
Protocol,
I'm giving you a real life situation and gave me a donation. And when I got to the funeral, the deputy president came. And when the deputy president came, because we were together, that is William Ruto, and I asked, at what stage do we read the president's speech? And I stood guided by the deputy president then at that time that you can read at this time, I'll invite you, which he did. Before he spoke, he invited me, I read the speech in solidarity, and that was it. So really, like a disaster in Madhioya, if the president has sent with a good heart a donation, that is it. How you deal with yourselves, with your local politics, that is your own problem. And so it is normal for the... I saw the president in one of the walls the other day. A member of parliament requested for assistance for a very needy case. And within 3 minutes, the president donated 1.5 million shillings. That is work of magnanimity that you do directly based on the people who reach out to you. And let me tell you, the president of Kenya is not condoned by bureaucracies. This is a less bureaucratic president. He's open. Anybody can reach him. Even Gakuye, he knows where we are. So don't bring colonial protocols that you want to bar the president from
as much as society want to defend that particular element,
yes,
I am disputing him in totality.
No.
I am disputing him in
totality. He knows very well that our president is very open. And if it is a matter of disaster, he's at liberty to send. Yes, and if he sent a donation, no. The president has not done that. From his own narrative, it is the president who gave a donation for some disaster happening somewhere in Madhioya through Ndindi Nyoro, and Ndindi Nyoro delivered. What is wrong with that?
If the president is so open,
and if the deputy president appeared later, it is okay.
If he is so open,
if the deputy president appeared later, it is okay. So really, and you cannot turn disaster issues to play political games, and particularly with the president. I've seen the president, the president's heart is so open and generous. These are local misinterpretations, and don't transfer them to the president. That I'll tell you. And the majority of us in the party and in the coalition, and even majority of the MPs from Mount Kenya, we don't think it is right for some people to try and drag the name of the president to unnecessary conversation, very unnecessary.
Do you think
the president gave a donation for disaster victims in Mathioya through Ndindi Nyoro. There's nothing wrong with that. So where has the president gone wrong? Yesterday, I saw the president give a donation to a family through the member of parliament for Muranga, Honorable Betty Maina.
When you were sent to speak on behalf of the president, you stood guided and asked what the protocol was before.
As much as my brother,
you want to choreograph colonial protocol.
As much as he does not want to give
you
me a
must
room to speak.
understand.
Let him also understand that we are living in the same nation, the same country.
The same party.
And let me tell you, political underminings starts from some corners. And that is why we are saying, when you see a smoke, except some fire. In this case, I am saying, if there is any division between the office of the deputy president and the head of state, then the crack can be seen starting. Because when such an event, that young tax had no cash. They went there and they promised. The head of state cannot send you to promise. That promises was fulfilled after. But then what was the motive? Then you read the motive and you read it negative. And in this case, I would like to tell my brother, as much as we are going to remain in the same house, let us put our house in order. Let us not be seeing any single element of division that actually there's an outright mission to undermine the deputy president.
All right, so
using his backyard young tax.
As we wind up, what would it take from where you sit to put the house in order?
The ball and the whip is with the head of state. He's the head of state, he's the party leader. Then he has the duty to bring his house to order. He's the one to bring the team together. And as much as he has a room for the growth of young tax for the future, he cannot now, he cannot allow any single element to read a different motive from the same young tax he's just about to grow politically. And I can tell you, I have no problem if these particular indicators are being seen at far end of 2027 when we are in the second term, could be an issue. But when you are seeing these particular elements happening now, you are grooming this young tax to become president of 2027? Or what is the mission?
All right, we're just about to wind up. So, Sion, I go back to my question. Previously, you're both members of UDA party. The president made promises to his deputy that what happened to him in the last regime would not happen to his deputy. Has he kept that promise?
Yes, he has kept. He will continue keeping. And the president has made it as demonstrated that he's going to protect the interests of everyone and the responsibility of everybody in Kenya. Those within government and even the opposition. Right now, you know, he's campaigning for Raila Amolo Odinga to be the chairman AU. Where would you get a sitting president who will consider other people to play different roles? Because at the end of the day, we have rights of existence. And the president believes in the individual rights of existence and individual democratic rights. I'm saying so because I've interacted with him. I've interacted with him for long.
The fact that the Raila factor itself is an issue in that relationship.
He has kept the promise. His deputy is Ruto-Gachagua. Didn't you see Ruto-Gachagua inviting the president in Bungoma? The president did not bypass him the way Uhuru Kenyatta bypassed William Ruto when he was the deputy president on 1st of June of 2022. He recognizes him as his deputy. Didn't you see Ruto-Gachagua seeing off President William Ruto at Jomo Kenyatta Airport when he was going to Korea? That one. And don't think you are going to pull the president to petty conversations. He won't. He will lead from the front. He will do things right. He will not touch anybody. The office of the DP remains protected, and it will continue working, and everybody remains protected. Every member of the parties remains protected. Every member of parliament is protected, and he has given clear signs. Can we work and transform Kenya? All right. That's a big agenda.
I want to take
Can
some
we transform Kenya
I want to take some
and
feedback.
leave these
Gakuya,
petty things?
do you agree
and
that the
I
office...
know, and I know, and I know, and don't wait for the president to begin blasting people by names right across. He will not do that. The president remains focused in uniting the country. The president remains focused in breaking ethnic barriers. and stopping any move to balkanize the country to ethnicity.
Okay.
Let's allow Kenya to remain united. The president is focused on that. And more importantly, the president remains focused on the price, economic transformation, whatever it takes. And it means his words.
Okay.
I know it.
Madam Chair, I want also to be very categorical. It should not be seen or portrayed as if the deputy president is balkanizing his backyard community. This cannot be seen, cannot be taken to as a certain angle. That when you are telling your region to unite together, that you are balkanizing. It is not the case at all. And I can tell you, before you move to the country, you must start from your home, from your village, from your locality, to your region, and then to national. When your home is not settled, then as a leader of that community, you cannot be settled. You must unite them first to unite the rest of the Kenyans. So no single element should be portrayed that when Gachagua is asking his community to unite, that he's balkanizing tribalism. This is not the case at all. And nobody should fear this. And let me tell you, I am for that. When you want to unite Kenya, start with your community to the top level of the nation.
All right, let's take some feedback on what our viewers are saying just before we wind up. We are analyzing the intrigues in that Ruto-Gachagua war. We have Magwa there who says Mount Kenya is going back to President Uhuru Kenyatta, whether Ruto likes it or not, using Ndindi Nyoro, Ishungwa and Anne Waiguru to attack Gachagua for trying to unify Kikuyus won't work this time. Scenes are very different from 2022 and people know the truth. Go Riggy. Martin says when he was the central divided that Gachagua is fighting for unity. When was the central divided that Gachagua is fighting for unity? Did Central vote in one basket in 2022, or is it Uhuru being sidelined amounting to Central being divided? When was his central, well, so that's the same question being asked. And it's an interesting question because Gachagua says he is unifying the mountain. And many are asking who divided the mountain. Sarah says, Riggy ako kazi. Finance bill will be passed by Azimio MPs. Riggy has a role of pretending enmity. So Azimio MPs side with Ruto's intent. All right. Kinyanjui says, when Mount Kenya wants to speak with one voice, it becomes tribal ethnicity. What's the phobia for? Peter Gishuki says, Riggy is not lucky at all. This one has been locked. He is out. He just made the unimaginable blunder of locking himself out of the system. James says, the whole thing is well planned. Ruto does not need Mount Kenya anymore. To him, Mount Kenya is more of a liability than an asset. Even Ndindi Nyoro and Ishungwa are just being used to achieve the objective. They will soon be dropped. All right, and that's what our viewers are saying this morning on that conversation. Gentlemen, 30 seconds as we wind up. Gakuya, your thoughts on those on the feedback there? And
the feedback is, I would say that in fact we must focus from where we came from, and at the point we are, we must give all Kenyans hope. Mount Kenya sacrificed themselves. They defined one of their own, Uhuru Kenyatta, to take a decision to support William Ruto. Any element of signs to fight his deputy, the community will take it strongly and firm. And they must be united than before to defend that.
All right.
So no single element of that kind will be at any point acceptable to the Mount Kenya. And let me tell you, when we are saying unity of Mount Kenya, we are not anyhow fighting anybody. Even Luyas, under the governor of Trans Nzoia, are uniting.
Okay.
So if they are not, if their unity is not anything biased, then unity of Mount Kenya is not biased.
Association, very briefly, your final comments.
No, Mount Kenya has been united all through. And so we cannot begin a new claim of uniting Mount Kenya. It has been united. It was united in 2022. They broke the ethnic barriers. They did what they did. Mm-hmm. And Mount Kenya remains a very strong passion of political development in this country and economic development. And the president is in very good chemistry completely with the mountain and its leadership. The president's focus is not about engaging in localized conflicts and feelings and emotions. He will not be drawn to that.
All right.
The president will continue focusing on the bottom-up economic transformation agenda which he promised Kenyans and for all Kenyans.
Okay.
And under President Ruto, there will be no ethnicity.
All right, let's wind up there.
Mark this show. There won't be.
Let's wind up there. And of course, the question
Kenya
is what this
will remain
rift means
strongly
for
united, and all regions
country.
will remain strongly united around the bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
And
those political feelings
Many thanks,
will remain at
that is
another table.
Wilson Sosio. He is the former NAT Secretary General and a former nominated Member of Parliament. Also with us in studio
Don't forget
is
to say
Honorable James Gakuya, who is the Embakasi North Member of Parliament. Gentlemen, many thanks for making this show possible. And thank you for watching this morning as well. My name is Michelle Ngele Odhiambo. Good morning.
The biggest reggae and rhythm show ever on Kenyan television.
You have a ganja man and you wanna forget. Tell him nothing about
Juggle with the reggae boys.